think we've all been massively encouraged today. I got the boring bit, nothing in finance. No, it's a vital part of the ministry, and it's tied innately to the reaching out, the connection point, the reaching out to the lost around us, and coming to your places to do mission. You know, without the admin, without that part of it, it just wouldn't happen, would it? And it's been an amazing journey. You know, glimpsed it. It's been a baptism of fire for me since I joined in August. You can read the thing on the website, but that's pretty much sums it up. About how I've arrived here. It is thanks to certain key people within this room. Ian, maybe. When I first heard that there might be an opportunity, I was encouraged by Ian and others to apply for the role, and it's been amazing. Because I only knew TFM, not English News. And here I am. Yeah, God has been in the journey there. It's been absolutely amazing, and it has been God's hand. I have a testimony from the Lord that I'm in the right place. You know, and Dan and I have discussed many times. We've said, I think sometimes semi-publicly, I think we're pretty much in absolute lockstep, in agreement on theology, on how we need to move forward, on our vision for TFM, and there is a future for TFM. God has a work for TFM. You know, we've heard about the connection point. We've heard about the past, Dan Cousins, but we have to look forward. Yeah, we cannot look back. We have to look forward. Joined 1st of August. Short handover. I had 2 missions in very quick succession. It was good fun. It was good fun. Steep learning curve. Dan, what are we doing? We're doing next book. How does this work? What happens? And you know, in some ways, the admin side was much easier than actually dealing with the practical ways of coming on mission and doing things and participating. Love Little Port was probably slightly different because I've been on the planning committee for that, so I knew more how that was going to be organised and run. But being part of the TFM team, learning how TFM teams work has been amazing, and you know, meeting all of you guys. And even today, this is my first annual conference, putting faces to names. Again, you know, I know a lot of names, but I don't know what some of you look like before now. So now we know. Testimony of God's goodness, absolutely 100%. You know, He has led this far, and He will continue to lead. And you know, despite Dan's disappointment, I'm absolutely confident that God will lead that as well, and He will lead TFM forward. You know, this is a challenge, this is a blockage, but we will move forward from it. Office. We have an office now. We're there. Thank you to the Vine. Thank you so much, because it's been amazing to have a base and not have to work from home, and to be able to focus entirely on the work, and you know, doing the admin in the background, but also pulling all the threads together and connecting people within TFM. Very grateful to God and to the Vine. We are now able to print a lot of our own literature in-house, which has been amazing. You know, I understand previously it's been sort of commercially published, but we have a halfway decent printer in the office, and all of the literature, well, not all of it, but the leaflets and everything that come out have been produced in-house on the printer. So it's amazing to be able to do that without having to liaise with an external publisher, printer, whatever, cost on top of the printing costs. We have a home. Yeah. we have a home, and it's a good home. And it's being part of the Vine here. This is my home church, and having the office there at times it's hard because I come to work where I attend church, but at the same time it is absolutely amazing to be in the church where I worship and be able to come to this place and work in God's house. You know, Dan has mentioned before, you know, this is a prayed over space, and we have an office for TFM in a prayed over space. You're all welcome to come and visit at any point. There is a new leaflet in the pipeline because we're running out of stock of the existing one. And it actually says on the back of that, you're more than welcome to pop in and visit and come and say hi. But please phone first, because we might be out of mission, or we might be doing something, or we might be meeting outside. But please come and see us in the office, pop in at any time. Finance. TFM obviously can't run without money. You know, we don't really want. I'll just jump through some of these. We don't really want to appeal for money. You know, what is the name of our mission? Through faith missions. You know, in the quarterly meetings, we have kind of vaguely bounced around some ideas about doing fundraising stuff. Me and Dan doing this cycle somewhere and sleep costume to somewhere. But I have to say, my gut instinct is we have to stick to our title, which is through faith missions. And others may disagree with that, but this is what I actually believe that God will provide. Having said that, we can only function with funds. And there is a lot of regular giving, and a lot of people are very, very generous. But legacies are useful. They are one-off, but they can be useful if you could think about doing a legacy. Lump sum donations we do have lump sum donations, and I know a lot of you do give sacrificially regularly to TFM, and we cannot thank you enough for that. But we're looking to the future, and when we look at the demographics of TFM, I have actually sent out to the trustees and the demographic of the ages of TFM supporters on our database that we know the ages of, and it kind of goes exponentially up that way. And we need to look to the next generation if TFM is going to continue. You know, we believe wholeheartedly that TFM has a future, but it doesn't have a future unless we invest in the next generation. And that is down to us. And Dan and I can only do so much. And I'm absolutely convinced that the only way that this will move forward is if you guys, as TFM supporters, engage with one-to-one the next generation. You guys need to get alongside younger people, and we are so thankful that there are some younger people here today. But you guys need to get alongside one-to-one with the younger members of the churches who are committed Christians to come on mission. You know, we all know family is so important in the Bible. It's a biblical model. TFM is a family. Church is a family. There are families in churches. And the principle of the family is that grandparents, parents, children, and that goes spiritually as well. It's not just in the familial relationships, it's spiritual relationships. You know, 2 Timothy talks all about that as well, doesn't he? And the older folk are the grandparents, if you like, taking the younger folk under their wing spiritually and saying, maybe you kick up the butt sometimes, go on mission. And who better to sell it to that next generation than you guys who have been on mission? You know, so if I stand up the front and say, young people, you need to go on mission, well, okay, fine. If one of you guys takes these young people under their wing and says, look, why don't you come with me on mission? That's going to be so much more effective than just talking from the front. So there's a challenge, you know, not just a connection point for those out there. Are we willing and able to be a connection point for the young people in our churches? Are we? Which leads on to another point, and there's been quite a lot of discussion around this in the background. Even since I joined in August, I would say I'm now pretty much at capacity with Dan. Where do we go from here? We want to grow. We want to build this work. We believe TFM has a future. Future is growth. If we don't grow, what's the alternative? We sink. There isn't an in-between. The status quo will not be maintained. We grow or we sink. We're going to grow by God's grace in faith. With that, if we're at capacity now, we need to recruit. And we are exploring that very gently at the moment and seeing where, when, how. We don't have the funds at the moment to recruit, but we believe that is the way forward. So please, please, please pray about that with us as we look to the future, as we look to that vision, as we find a way forward for that vision. You know, we can't grow without recruitment. We don't have the funds to recruit. Catch 22, that God is in control and he will provide. New church involvement. Have you actually asked, and I know many of you have you actually asked your churches if they would run a mission? Have you spoken to people, your friends within other churches, to ask if they would run a mission? I'll leave that open. And as I've just said, new staff, and we are continually reviewing and looking at, Dan and I meet twice a week, and we continue looking at new opportunities. The Strawberry Fair, Dan identified Strawberry Fair as one, but I'm sure there are other opportunities out there that we can do. But God has been so good as well, because 3 weeks ago, a month ago, we were thinking, calendar looks maybe a little bit sparse. And here we are now at the annual conference saying we can't take any more on in 2026, we're looking at 2027. God is good. And that to me is a confirmation that God is in TFM. His Holy Spirit is working. He is filling up the calendar, and we can look forward in him in faith to the future, because we're already looking at scheduling things for 2027 when anything new comes up, which it will. I've been absolutely amazed by today. My first annual conference. It's been very, 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 very special. The Holy Spirit has been enormous, and it's been a real, real blessing to hear all of the previous speakers. And it's a privilege. It really, really is a privilege to come on board and be working with all of you guys. I've worked with some of you on mission already. I'm sure I'll work with some of you, more of you on mission. I've been in prayer meetings with more of you. It is a family, and it's been absolutely amazing. I can't emphasize that. It's been amazing to be part of this, and working with Dan is a privilege as well. Thank you. there is an open mic time. Before that, I was meant to do this before, and I forgot, but Ian is going to just come up and say a couple of things.
Thanks. Well, first of all, thank you very much for praying for Love Littleport. This coming Tuesday evening, we have our second sellout curry evening in our local restaurant here with another evangelistic talk following up the one we had in the Love Littleport week. So please pray for one of our local TFM vicars, Nigel Moat, who's giving that talk on Tuesday evening. We know about a quarter of the people coming are not committed Christians at that event. Thank you for praying for the report. And as Nigel has already said, and John has underlined, we're at TFM supporting community here in Liverpool. So if at 4 o'clock you find your car doesn't start, or the train you thought was running isn't running, there is a bed for the night for you. Alison and I always have a bed made up, ready, and any member of the TFM family at any time, any year, do say if you need a bed for the night in Liverpool. So, for example, you're going from Cardiff to Great Yarmouth. You can't make it. You just get as far as Liverpool. Get a hold of John, and John will make sure you can stay overnight. Thank you so much. Thirdly, to say thank you for the kind things you've said about my little green book here. There is part of the TFM story woven into it. It's called Mission Teams, What Difference Do They Make? So there's some testimony from people in the room here. If you haven't had one yet, I'll just stand at the door. Please ask me for one. I'd love to give you one.